Welcome everybody. So I have a video here from Douglas Ducote, and I followed his channel for some time, but then he started having a go at Ilhan Omar for completely bogus reasons, as you'll see in a second. So I've had enough with him now. I actually emailed him to try and get him to see sense, but he wasn't having it. Well, he didn't respond. So let's have a look at the comments here. Now, looking at the vote totals, you wouldn't think a whole lot's going on, but the actual comments here are pretty much what you're seeing. So the first one here says, "Agree, Douglas. Tell her to go home." Let's see, what else have we got here? "America, wake up, stand up for the truth and for values. Ilhan Omar is cancerous to our society." Okay, so as I say, you might not think that he's had a sort of a big response, but in fact these comments here are they're not the top comments at all. Google has they're completely misordering the comments list for political reasons. So let me show you the comments resorted into the order they should be. Okay, so here we go. So yeah, the top comment here actually should have, it's got 238 votes, and yeah, this has been bumped by 107 positions. The comments are saying similar things though. So this one says, "Thank you for your service and loving our country." So now why? For what possible reason has that comment been bumped? That just doesn't make any sense, does it? And let's see the next one here. "Douglas, to answer your question, it's because she's Muslim. They're supposed to hate all non-believers." And this said 222 upvotes. Now, as I say, this is they are incorrect, and Douglas is incorrect. They just see her in like a hijab, and if you actually spend a mere second and listen to what she's actually saying, and in fact, let's go down to my response, which was my rebuttal was also censored by YouTube, so they're not even they probably did that because I was also criticising Israel for their disproportionate response to some of the rocket attacks, which compared to Israel's armory, they're almost not much more than like fireworks. Obviously, if they cause, quite often they don't cause any deaths at all. One death is too many, absolutely. But in the past, Israel, after these puny rocket attacks, they've released like an unbelievable level of carnage onto the Palestinians, completely unproportional to. So that, yeah, YouTube decided to bury also my response. I think this is it here. Yeah, here we go. And I'm going to read it to you because, as I say, this is they're not even allowing a fierce response. So I'm going to read it to you here. Representative Ilhan Omar's tweet: "I plan to vote no on the budget caps bill because our spending priorities should reflect our values. It is not moral that we continue to spend more money on wasteful Pentagon budget than we do on priorities like education, healthcare and housing combined. And I go on to say, Douglas is getting really hot under the collar over this when Bernie Sanders has likely said the exact same thing, as it is perfectly reasonable aspirational policy of true progressives, i.e. not Clinton, Biden, Obama, etc., finally bringing to an end these decade-old wars and diverting this monumental spending to programs back home. Patriotism is not defending everything politicians do in our name, especially when it turns out they were lying through their teeth, such as on Saddam's weapons of mass destruction, which resulted in the decimation of Iraq, which was a perfectly viable nation. Don't you dare argue that people of Iraq are better off given the massive numbers of Iraqi deaths. Not forgetting Libya, which as a result of our actions, Hillary Clinton rot in hell, is now a failed state that now has open slave markets. No, being a true patriot is also defending our nation against domestic traitors who have grossly abused our military might to conduct immoral wars primarily for mountains of filthy cash. Again, don't you dare argue that our military-industrial complex is not a very real entity, essentially comprising all military contractors, that only thrives when we are at war, regardless of whether that war was just or not. Oh, and criticising certain actions of the Israeli government is not automatically anti-Semitic, and all true progressives are fighting for Israel to treat Palestinians as fellow human beings and not to just throw them off their land that some families owned for many generations. That is all the BDS movement is about, an attempt to use peaceful means by focusing on Israel's pocketbook to force the government to treat Palestinians fairly, even when a few deeply misguided souls lash out. As that does not give Israel the right to commit a genocide. To highlight my point here, Bernie Sanders, who is Jewish, came to the defence of Representative Ilhan Omar over her Israeli-related tweets. I'll stop there. As I say, Google. So this comment here that I replied to, it only had 29 votes at the time, and they've completely buried it. It's been bumped by over 400 positions. So yeah, the censorship is just a disaster. That they, Google and all these social media networks, they need to just leave the damn comments alone. The best the best answer to dialogue you don't agree with is to have it appear in the full light of day, and then let people like me, moderate thinkers, actually provide clear opposition to it. That's how you defeat it. You don't defeat it by brushing it under the rug, do you? And I've added this JavaScript bookmarklet I wrote to resort the comments. I've added an extra thing here. So let's actually look at the order. So now it's in the most bumped order. So these are like the comments they most Google decided, yeah, we need to, these absolutely need to be hidden as deeply as possible. So what have we got here? The first one is which is bumped by 761 positions. I'm not getting my notifications of Tommy Matter. Having said that, I'm not surprised at anything that comes out of her unintelligent mouth. She's a first-class moron, and how quickly the libs have forgotten 9/11. Shameful. Thanks, Doug, for your passion and for telling it like it is. No, there's loads of things wrong with what that guy said there. But again, if you hiding it doesn't change that viewpoint, does it? Yeah, you can hide all these comments, but they're still going to think the exact same thing. I could have had plenty to have said about that comment. for a start, the like 9/11, it's sod all to do with Muslims and like Iraq in particular. Nothing, absolutely nothing to do with 9/11. So what we got, the next one here is, which was bumped 755 positions, buried by that amount. People are getting fed up, Douglas. There is a pushback against all this evil. We are, as I said earlier on, what she said was something that Bernie Sanders has probably said himself several times before. So no, this is just all these comments, but then they should, as I say, Google shouldn't be fiddling around with the order of the, burying these comments intentionally. That they need to be in the clear light of day. So moderates know, we know what we're up against. So we know that a portion of the population thinks like this, and we need to think ways of setting them straight, because this is all garbage. There's like what have we got here? She's just doing with care. I'm not sure what that refers to, and the Muslim Brotherhood want her to. And the sad thing, more like her are coming, sadly. I fear most Americans will not open their eyes. Yeah, this like, oh, well, we're going to be getting the Sharia law. What a load of crap. That's like, that's just not happening, people. It's just a phony. And yeah, as I say, you just need to get past the fact that yes, she is a Muslim, and the vast majority of Muslims, they just want to get on with their everyday lives. They're not interested in conflict or anything else. They just want to make a living, have a family, and the same goes for her. If you actually listen to what she says, it's nothing particularly inciting anything. Okay, so let's leave that video now. The next one I want to take you to is now this is interesting. So I was sort of doing research here on trying to find out what subjects that Google is doing their best to censor, the dialogue. And interestingly, they are apparently not censoring what pretty much everyone thinks on things like transgender women in sports. Now, it's just common sense. If you are biologically a male, you cannot compete in female as a female. You have the physical build that just makes it completely unfair for women. Just get over it. No, that is not appropriate. And lo and behold, that weightlifter the other day, we supposedly defeated 4 sort of world titles. How ridiculous! And the governing body struck down those medals. Absolutely. I mean, it's just so, and it doesn't matter how much the hormone therapy. My suggestion, I've said, is look. I personally believe, absolutely, for some people, this is a very real thing. If you believe, as I do, that your sexuality is decided at birth. Some people are born and they have an attraction to the same sex. Then I think it's absolutely possible that again, it could well be the case that some people mentally they feel they have like they feel like they have the sort of mentality of the opposite sex, and you just have to look at people like the person that's been in the news lately over the WikiLeaks. What's her name? I'm trying to remember it in a second. But clearly, she's fully transitioned to how she feels obviously far more comfortable as a woman than a man, and I have no issue with that at all, because as I say, if you believe that someone can be homosexual, then why isn't it possible that they could also be transgender? I just can't. It seems perfectly reasonable. But what is not reasonable, you obviously, it doesn't, as I say, it doesn't matter how much hormone therapy, it's just, you can't compete in sport, because, yeah, especially if you transition at a later age. No, that just, sorry, that is not appropriate. And all the comments here, you look at the comments here, and I've resorted these. Now that so this is rank 1, and that 0 means the position hasn't changed. Google hasn't messed around with the comment order at all. And let's read the first comment here. It says, anyone who calls her transphobic for saying these things is either completely deluded or just plain stupid. She is 100% correct. Yes, this is the Sharon Davis, the former tennis, the swimmer actually, and yeah, she opposes transgender athletes in women's sports, and she's perfectly right. I mean, Martina Navratilova, she should have stood her ground. She did not come out and apologise for anything. What she's saying is absolutely correct. I see the next one here. It says, and this first one had 3,771 votes. The next one, this is what I was saying. Let transgender athletes compete against each other. That would be okay. Absolutely. Why might in the Olympics and in other competitions where possible, just have a separate transgender, medal for trans women and trans men? That would be the correct response here. Obviously, if a trans man, so that's where you feel far more comfortable born as a woman, but you feel more comfortable as a man. If that person wants to compete against men, go for it. I can't. That's fine. But obviously the reverse is not. It's the next one here. It's not hate speech. It's common sense. Yeah, correct. So it's very interesting that Google is not. And this is pretty much the same on another video. Of the same sort of subject. Let's just have a look. What is the... Okay, so this is now the most bumped order. So this one here, right? Well, the guy doesn't really say a lot. Let's try the next one here. Let's have 11 males identifying as women competing in the Women's World Cup football. Success simples, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's possible that this one. So this is interesting. She is wrong. So that was bumped by a huge margin. Yeah. So okay. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if we can tell much about that. But now let's check out our next subject. So this is this Bill Nye character. He's a mechanical engineer. He is. Apparently he's an actor or something. He has no scientific authority to comment on anything to do with this climate change scam. It's a complete scam. Just go to the Petition Project website, and there's like 31,000 scientists who've signed the petition, including 9,000 with PhDs who basically state no, there is no scientific evidence to that humanity is causing cataclysmic changes to our climate. The evidence is not there. Like going back to Al Gore's movie, where are these? So he came out with all these cataclysmic predictions of sea level rise. It's going to be a rise by feet, and none of it have materialised. It's a complete scam, as reflected by the this is the, so initially here what I've got is the I've resorted the comments by the votes, and you can see it. So this one had 367 votes, and that this hasn't actually moved a whole lot. It says this is perfect example of propaganda. Yeah, but let's try the next one here. Bill Nye's a hack. He has 0 credentials in climatic science. Yeah. Next one. Bill Nye believes in more than 2 genders, so he threw away his credibility for a few million. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, these haven't actually moved a whole lot. The next one's moved has been bumped by 450 positions. Old man yells and sets things on fire. Yeah. This next one. Bill Nye, the lying guy. Next one, Bill Nye, the fascist guy. Yeah, Bill Nye, the science guy. Best joke I've heard in years. Yep, that's right. Yeah, I believe I commented on this. Yeah, so I'm porting out this petition project. And yeah, let me just read the statement. They say, from the petition project, there is no convincing scientific evidence that human release of carbon dioxide, methane or other greenhouse gases is causing or will in the foreseeable future cause catastrophic heating of the Earth's atmosphere and disruption of the Earth's climate. Moreover, there is substantial scientific evidence that increases in atmospheric carbon dioxide produce many beneficial effects upon the natural plant and animal environments of the Earth. Absolutely correct. It's something I've been doing, trying to get YouTube to stop this effective censorship of the comments. I say, warning YouTube, if you disappear this comment thread, which is where, yeah, this is where they bump it by huge margins, so effectively no one can see it, which should be considered a violation of the free speech protections enshrined in the Constitution of the United States of America. Your censorship will be documented on President Trump's Twitter feed using the following template. Until either you cease and desist your anti-American behaviour, or President Trump signs into law legislation that mandates that social media platforms are obliged to uphold our First Amendment rights. And the tweet says, at real Donald Trump, documenting Google's egregious comment censorship on YouTube, thread disappeared without the highlighting comment, given its de facto Monday public square, where for healthy society it's absolutely essential we can freely express different viewpoints. And then you just paste the, if you ever get a notification link for your comment, you can use that. So yeah, so Google are for some reason deciding, for all the rest of us, no, there should be no discussion on climate change, when if you consider this petition project, probably the majority of scientists are on the other side, including John Coleman, the founder of the Weather Channel, are saying no, the science is on our side to say that this climate change is something dreamt up by politicians, probably likely to fleece taxpayers. And the rest of it, and quite possibly as a way to limit population growth. When if you actually look at it, the population, there's plenty of room on Earth for more people. It really is a non-concern that. So yeah, Google, as I say, Google should be leaving the comments alone and allow free discussion, because that's how, for things like sort of painting all Muslims with this broad brush of, that they all hate us. No, they don't. As I say, they just want to have a happy life like the rest of us. But if you're going to hide all these anti-Muslim views, then you're just achieving the opposite. They need to be out in the open so we know what we're dealing with. Okay, so hopefully Google, this message will get to Google and they might rethink their position. I'll see if I can get, I'll post it on Trump's Twitter feed, whether he sees much of, what the general public posts. I'm not sure. But Yes, bye for now.